Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path located in Forest City, North Carolina. A couple of weeks ago I was working and I wanted to come up with a very simple pendant that you could wear that wouldn't be super fancy, but it wouldn't be too casual either. I wanted it kind of somewhere in the middle. I wanted to be able to wear it with something really nice or at the same time be able to kind of dress it down. So I came up with the round and round pendant, and today I actually have on the fall colored pendant, and that's the one I'm going to show you how to make. But to make the project, you're going to need 12 6mm round beads. You are going to need 26 4mm round beads. You're going to need 24 4mm bicones, 36 3mm bicones, and some size 11 seed beads. This is a 2-needle technique, so you're also going to need 2 needles, 1 needle threaded on each end of a 2-yard piece of Fireline. So go ahead and get your materials together and we'll get started. So I wanted to go ahead and show you some samples first off. This is a blue colored one. I've used a light blue and a dark blue. And if you're wondering how it hangs, I come up with this clever hanger right here on the back that's just big enough to thread through a small cording or a chain or what have you. So, so this is the blue one. This is my black and silver and gunmetal color. I've done one in a matte gold with copper and gold, which I think will be beautiful for the fall of the year. Here's a pink one that I just fell in love with. And then, of course, I'm going to show you how to do the fall colored one today. And again, I'll show you how you can do the hanger here on the back. So this is what we're going to be making today. And so you've got your materials together. I'm going to be doing the fall colored one, so I'm going to be using a bronze for my 6mm, a smoked topaz for my 4, a olive green for my 4mm bicone, a topaz AB for my 3mm, and then a size 11 Silverline gold seed bead. To start, on one needle, which I'm right-handed, so I'll use my right-handed needle, I'm going to pick up 1 6mm and 2 4mm rounds, and I'm going to let those fall. On one needle, I'm going to pick up 1 4mm round, and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through that one bead. Now I'm going to put my needles together and grab a hold of the one bead and pull so that I make sure my beadwork goes to the center of my circle, or of my thread. So it makes a little tiny circle. So on my left-handed needle, or the best way to remember is on the side that the 6mm is on, you're always going to pick up a 6mm. On the side that your 4mm are on, you're always going to pick up a 4mm. Okay? So I have a 6mm on one, a 4mm on the other, and I'm going to let those drop. And then I'm going to pick up 1 4mm and cross my needles opposite ways through that 1 4mm. And it's going to make little tiny circles. And you want to continue this until you have 11 circles done. What we're actually doing is we're just making the base for the round and round pendant so that we have something to anchor our other beads to. So as you can see, it's just a repetitive pattern. So just continue until you have 11 total circles. You have 4 circles as of right now. When you finish your 11 circles, this is what you should have. So you're going to go ahead and pick up your beads just like you normally would. But what you're going to do, instead of picking up a 4 and crossing through it, you're going to cross your needles opposite ways through the very first bead that you added here of the 4mm. So here's where we're at now, and we're just going to cross opposite ways through the first 4mm that you had added. And that will complete our actual circle. So that this is what you have. Pretty ugly right now, but we're going to make it pretty. So, similar to the bottom here, or our base, is going to be very similar to the top. The needle that is coming out towards the 6 millimeters or away from the thread is going to pick up a 4 millimeter. This thread will always pick up the 4 millimeter. The needle exiting towards the inside here is going to pick up a 3 millimeter bicone. The needle that always comes out towards the center will always pick up the 3 millimeter. So I have a 4 millimeter on the outside, a 3 millimeter on the inside, and I'm going to pick up one size 11 seed bead and cross my needles opposite ways through that one bead. So that when I pull, it lays right on top, kind of makes half of an X shape on top of the first box. So the outside needle picks up the 4 millimeter, the inside needle picks up a 3 millimeter, and you cross your needles opposite ways through the next round bead along the middle here. We're not going to use any of the inside beads or the outside. We're only going to be using the middle 4 millimeters. So I'm coming out, started here. So I'm going to come to this one and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through the 1 4 millimeter. And pull so that it makes your first little X shape embellishment over the first circle. So again, the outside needle here picks up a 4 millimeter. The inside needle coming out towards the center picks up a 3 millimeter. You let those drop. Pick up one size 11 seed bead and cross your needles opposite ways through the one bead. My outside needle, which is this one here, picks up a 4 millimeter. The inside needle picks up a 3 millimeter, and you cross your needles opposite ways through the next 4 millimeter round on the base. So that now you have 2 embellishments, and you want to continue adding your embellishments. Let's see, 10 more times. Now that you've gone all the way around the embellishment, this is what you should have. So you still have the needle exiting towards the center and one exiting away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my center thread here. And you will go through 1 4 millimeter next to where your thread is exiting. And I'm actually going to turn it over so you can see it better. But you are only going to be working with the 4 millimeters that are here along the inside of the ring. So you'll go through 1 4 millimeter next to where you're exiting. Pick up one size 11 seed bead and go through the very next 4 millimeter in the circle, so that it pops right into place. And you're going to go around the whole circle picking up an 11 and going through the next 4 millimeter in the circle. This is going to help keep the shape of the circle. Rather than being floppy, it's going to keep it shaped very well. So you want to just pick up an 11 and go through the next 4 all the way around the circle. Now once you've gone all the way around, this is what it'll look like. And you want to actually go ahead and tie the thread off, just one thread. So what I do is I come up through the 4mm, and I'm going to go under the thread between the 6mm and the 4mm that I'm coming out of, leave myself a little loop, go through the loop, and pull. This is called a half hitch knot, and I'm going to do just a couple of these, and then stitch through a bead, and I'm going to do the same thing, just putting a couple of good knots in here, and then I'll stitch through a bead or two and trim just this one tail, so that way that one is out of my way. Now the other thread is exiting here along the outside. So what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to come right through a 6mm right next to where I'm exiting. I'm going to pick up a 3mm bicone, and I'm going to go right through the next 6mm here on the edge so that it pops right into place. And you're going to do that along the whole circle, picking up a 3mm and going through the next 6mm. Now as you go around, do not pull tight. If you pull tight, it's really going to make this piece cup and dome, and it's not going to be as pretty when it lays on you. So just pull it through enough to where it'll pop into place. And once you've gone around and added your 3mm, this is what your piece will look like. I'm going to go around one more time and reinforce just by going through the beads. I'm not adding anything, and I'm not pulling tight. I'm just going through the beads. Just here along the outer edge. Now once you've gone all the way around, just reinforcing your thread, then you're ready to add the hanger. Now when I add the hanger on the back, it's like a double hanger to give it more stability. So you want to exit out of any 6mm along the outer edge. And I'm going to flip this around here. I'm going to pick up, you can do 5 or 6, or maybe even a few more, just depending on the size loop that you want. Let's say for today I'm going to pick up 6 11s and 1 4mm round. So my thread is exiting in the downward position. So I'm going to come to the 4mm right below it here, and I'm going to come up through that 4mm so that my loop goes right there. Now I'm going to pick up 1 4mm and 6 11s. And this time I'm going to come down through that 6mm so that I have a loop on each side of that 6. So it's like a double hanger here. And depending on how many 11s you add will depend on how much room your thread or whatever you're going to hang it on has to get through here. 6 is a good number because it gives you a big enough loop that you can really do some stuff with it, you know, put some different threads or things like that in it. And I'm just going to go back through and reinforce by going back through those beads that I added for the hanger. I'm just going to go back through those again. And then once I went through them to reinforce them, I'm going to stitch through a few beads here along the outer edge. I'm going to do a few half hitch knots, And then I'm going to trim off this thread. As you can see, this pendant is pretty quick to make. It's very simple, and it's amazing the different color things you can do with it. That's the part that I enjoy about it. So now I'm going to trim off that thread so that now I have the finished pendant. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you enjoyed learning how to make the round and round pendant. Be sure to come back next week when we're going to get back to the basics, and we're going to be using some regular beading wire to create a beautiful flower looking bracelet. So we'll see you next week, and be sure to check out our Etsy store and our Facebook page for all of the wonderful kits and patterns that we have. We'll see you later. Bye bye.